Welcome back to Pasa, Nashville. My name is Christina Allen, and I'm your host, and I am so excited to have my friends from New Mexico visiting Nashville as part of the New Mexico Amigos delegation visiting and promoting New Mexico. I have Mike Pemberton, who is the Executive Director of the New Mexico Amigos, and joining us is Beverly McClure, who is the President of the Association of Commerce and Industry, which serves as New Mexico's Chamber of Commerce. Thank you again for both being on the show. We were talking earlier about the beauty of New Mexico, the landmass, over 2 million people. And as president, what is the strong economics, the diversity of the economics of New Mexico? What brings industry in? Because we have a lot of land, we have a lot of high tech,
right.
We have Los Alamos,
Well, and really our economy is about as diverse as our population, and it's almost a north versus south economy. So if you're in the southern part of the state, you'll see our extractive industry. So you'll see oil performing well. We've got mining. We have a large copper mine. As a matter of fact, some of those folks are traveling with us on this trip. We also have a great agricultural community, as well as a lot of dairies. As a matter of fact, one of the largest cheese plants in the world, is located in Clovis, New Mexico, in the eastern part of the state.
Wow, I did not know that.
Down where you were in Las Cruces, when you look at that, we have the international trade, and we do a lot of trade now with Mexico and on the border, and we're seeing that begin to grow and expand. If you look at Albuquerque and then go north, you'll see that we have the natural gas up in the Four Corners area of our state, as well as a lot more tourism in the northern part of the state. And then in Albuquerque, we're starting to focus more on high tech, as particularly maybe technology around water. As you know, water is an issue everywhere, but particularly in our state. And how is it we can fix that problem with water and at the same time create jobs and help the nation as a whole?
And that is showing the diversity, obviously, of our landmass and geography and stuff. So we go into the south part, and we have the White Sands Missile Range, we have the White Sands Base. I know in 1980s the space shuttle landed there. I remember being in college, and so that was a big deal because we do have high tech when it comes to engineering and space. Can you tell a little bit about the spaceport?
Absolutely.
And kind of give an overview of what that is, because it's so different.
So in New Mexico, about 24% of our economy really depends on those federal contracts, and that refers to whether that's with our labs and the research component of that, or as you mentioned, the White Sands and some of our bases, because we have 3 really good bases in the state. So when you look at the spaceport, that's really just the next step or the next level for that, and that brings in an opportunity, particularly in rural New Mexico, for not only high tech, but there also be a tourism component to that. So it's really a great blend of 2 things that we already have.
Take a step back and tell me what the spaceport is.
So the spaceport actually will be a tourism, but it's going to take private citizens into space. It's not on my bucket list, but apparently it's on enough people's bucket list that they're willing to pay about $250,000 to do that. Branson with Virgin Galactic has come in, and they'll be the main tenant of the spaceport. And actually we're hoping beginning in September to start to see some flights. So toward the end of this year, first of next year, to start to see flights. And there's already a waiting list, quite frankly, of folks that are ready to do that.
So we have a spaceport to take individuals into space, to kind of float around and then come back safely.
Yeah, and I don't know how much they get to float. I almost think it's straight up kind of and straight down. But in addition to that, though, there's a whole other sector we can look at, and that would be unmanned spacecrafts.
Okay.
Or spacecrafts to do research, the drones that you hear a lot about, to be able to do some commercial uses of that. So there's actually a component to that, again, blending tourism with the economics of the high-tech industry.
And where are you, the New Mexico office based? It doesn't really matter, does it? Because you're all over, you embody everyone throughout the state.
That's correct. Currently our office is in Roswell, New Mexico, where I reside.
Okay, and so you get a lot of those mythical questions about Area 51.
Certainly, that's our tourism in the southern part of the state, and especially in Roswell, we have the International UFO Museum and Research Center.
I've been there, so I took my kids. It was fun. Okay, so let's talk about what's the southern part, Los Alamos. Most people know about Los Alamos, where they created the atomic bomb, but it's still a viable research area of high scientists. I mean, high-paying jobs in that area as well.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, if you go to that part of the state, we have the highest per capita PhDs there.
Wow.
So, and part of that is the research component that really, quite frankly, benefits the world, not just the nation, but some of the research that comes out of there. And of course, we also have the Sandia Lab that's in the Bernalillo County and the Albuquerque area. And between those two and the tech transfer that we have in those, as a matter of fact, it was someone at Sandia Labs when they found the Boston bomber at the marathon. That tech technology that actually went through the social media to find those
Wow.
pictures and put together the profile came right out of New Mexico.
Yay, so we have some good stuff. Okay, so that's the economics in terms of business-oriented tourism. We have Santa Fe, which is the capital, but also knowing that the Native Americans are very visible and architecture. Being born in Taos, we still have the Taos Pueblo, where the Indians go back and live to have the circle of life to
Right.
teach the children. And I have a coin that I was given when I was born in 1965 that had three face figures: the conquistador, the Native American, and the Anglo that represents the state. What is diversity in terms of the minorities becoming equally to the majority? Because I think New Mexico is the only state where the minority is the majority.
That's correct. And so you'll see that the Native American population is significant, as is the Hispanic population. And so with the Hispanic population, we are a majority state, or minority majority state, as you referred to that. And we see that in the diversity of our culture throughout. And as you said, and you talked about the tourism, New Mexico is neat in the sense that you can go skiing in the morning and come down from the mountain and play golf in the afternoon. There's not very many places that you can do that.
I did that in March. I was
Okay.
there for a spring break. We took our children and went skiing in Santa Fe. My husband went golfing with my
Right.
brother, and we went shopping, and we were like not in coats. So it is beautiful, and you saw a lot of retired folks. Is that still the case? Or we are a destination for retirement because of the air quality in the southern part as well as the northern part? Or?
Well, that and the fact that we have low property taxes, so if you're a retirement and you're on a fixed income, it's actually a great place to locate. We have great health care there. We're actually having a new development go up in Albuquerque. Del Webb is actually putting in a significant retirement community there. But at the same time, we're also looking at the millennials and how do we keep our kids as they graduate, how do we keep them there and engaged so that they can raise their families there as well and not have to wait until they retire to come back to the state.
Well, and I say this to businesses here in the southeast in Tennessee is if you want bilingual people because of the growth and demographic shift in the southeast with the large Hispanic population, you need to go to New Mexico, Texas, Arizona and recruit them because they grew up bilingual and that is very significant. So while you're trying to keep them, I'm thinking, hey, we need to recruit
Right.
teachers that are bilingual to be utilized with our demographic shift. So, and you're looking at, you travel these three cities every year. You mostly go every year. You're the prominent one. Do you see that people are aware of the beauty of it, or is it exciting to share it and then come to visit?
Well, many times we come into contact with people that have a great deal of knowledge about New Mexico, but the reason we do what we do is we're trying to touch those people that don't and get the word out. And Bev has given you some great information that you might not have known even.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what we do.
And once again, is it easy to get members to be proud to go off and take these trips like Beverly and Leland? I mean, is that an easy recruit?
Well, it is. We have 10 districts in the state,
Okay.
and we leave that job up to each individual district in terms of who they bring in. But as Leland mentioned, they have to be heavily involved in their community, and they have to represent an industry or a sector of society that we don't have good representation, so that when we bring a group in this case 170 people, once again we're going to have doctors, attorneys, we're going to have a good representation from the private sector, professional people, but we're also going to have educators, business
Right.
owners,
Dairy
and-
people, ag, oil
Right.
and gas, all together. So I mean, whatever industry that you're interested in, there's somebody on the trip or a member of the Amigos that represents that industry.
And let me ask you an underlying question. What is I would assume that the economic impact within grows because they're meeting each other.
Well,
I mean, building relationships that someone live across the state, which is a big state just to meet people.
Well, you've hit on the real secret about
Right.
this organization is, and most new members that come in, they recognize the advantage of getting to travel and see states like your beautiful state here. But when you've been in a year or two, you recognize that the real benefit for us is the fact that we come in contact with people from the far corners of the state, and lifelong friendships are formed, and it's a
With a common goal.
well, yes, and it's a networking opportunity for us within the state. So it's very
Well, this has
beneficial.
been great, and I welcome you to Nashville. As a native New Mexico, I'm very proud. I promote it. I'll wear my squash blossoms sometimes. Some people don't know what that is, which is a Native American necklace. But thank you both very much for being on the show, and enjoy yourself while you're here.
Thank you.
And please come back.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining Que Pasa Nashville. We're here each week as we talk about the opportunities and challenges of Latinos in Middle Tennessee, and join us next week. Muchas gracias. Thank you. If you could just stay here.